ethnic groups with colorful mosaic fabrics of culture bursting with tourism potential in dance, music, drums, and attire, if properly harnessed, will take Nigeria to pulsating heights. The unique groups with their customs is enough to take tourism in Nigeria to a whole new level, generating multi-billion naira income and providing jobs for the nation's teeming youth. Although some cultural festivals have withstood the test of time, the Osun Festival, Argungu Fishing Festival, Calabar Festival, the Judeoba Festival, New Yam Festival, and many more still not properly exploited to its full potential and celebrated intermittently by various state governments. And as the world marks World Cultural Diversity Day today, the dialogue on Panorama will center around massive involvement of the public, tertiary institutions, and private establishments, while the government provides an enabling environment that would reshape the landscape of tourism in Nigeria. Be reminded that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. I am Adeola Komiakere. Thanks for joining us. The Media and Publicity Subcommittee of the Inter-Ministerial Committee on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's first anniversary has released the first phase of a timetable for activities lined up to mark the event. The first anniversary schedule of events is expected to begin on Wednesday, 22nd May 2024, with a World Press Conference aimed at projecting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration's achievements and future plans. The World Press Conference will be held at the National Press Center Radio House, Abuja, at 10 o'clock in the morning. Following this, sectoral updates focusing on each ministry's specific accomplishments and goals will continue until Friday, 24th May 2024. All briefing activities will be held at the National Press Center Radio House, Abuja. Now, Minister of Arts and Culture, Hannatu Musawa, urges Nigerians to celebrate cultural diversity as a source of strength and unity. She emphasizes the need to appreciate and promote Nigeria's diverse cultural heritage to drive economic development, social well-being, and national unity. Minister Musawa encourages Nigerians to take pride in their culture and see diversity as a strength, not a source of conflict. She announces the ministry's continued efforts to promote Nigeria's creative economy and boost its image in line with its 8-point plan to make Nigeria Africa's creative capital by 2030. World Culture Day, commemorated on May 21, raises awareness on the role of culture in sustainable development. Minister Musawa calls on Nigerians to present their culture with pride and appreciate diversity as a source of strength and unity. And still talking about culture, experts are advocating the need for every Nigerian to recognize and respect people's values, beliefs, and ways of life that are different from theirs. Adejoke Odeka reports that this is coming as the world marks Cultural Diversity and Dialogue Development Day with the theme Museums for Education and Research.
Cultural diversity adds to the beauty of life, as it involves acknowledging people from different cultural backgrounds and creating an environment that recognizes the social behaviors of others. Celebrating the richness of various cultures across the globe to encourage unity in diversity is what the World Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development Day is highlighting.
You know, Yoruba, I love their foods. Amala is one of my favorite, actually. My state, Delta State, Stash and Owo.
Lagos Island now, which they are very known to your festival with Egungun and Gelede.
Experts say embracing diverse cultures in Nigeria would not only improve socio-economic values of the country, but also help boost development and tourism.
For instance, today is the World Culture Day. It is expected that we, celebrate one another's culture, appreciate all that is going on in the culture. The fact that I'm not a Yoruba person does not mean I should relegate to the background the culture that is being practiced by the Yoruba people.
Culture is a very big business right now. And I guess Nigeria is yet to really tap from the massive well of wealth that is in culture. Because you see, when a lot of people are looking at Nigeria and seeing a whole country that is culturally active, they will want to come.
Experts believe cultural awareness will help break down cultural barriers and build bridges. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
And to discuss further the potential of Nigeria's cultural diversity to the economy, I have with me Tayo Lanaye, arts and culture enthusiast for over a decade. You're welcome to Panorama.
Thank you.
All right, now, we're talking about the World Cultural Day, and we will be specific to Nigeria. Now, when we talk about a culturally diverse country like Nigeria being a classical example, how can individuals participate on a small scale to showcase our different cultural identity?
Fantastic. I want to say Happy World Cultural and Diversity Day. Well, it always helps, culture helps every individual to appreciate the awesomeness of God in his biotic or abiotic environment, because you cannot talk of culture when you isolate the environment, the geographic environment where man interplays with nature, with creatures, fellow creatures, and with everything that surrounds him for the attainment of having good health through what type of food you eat, the protection you have, security, the mode of dressing, and comforts that you have, and in very ample and pluralistic manner. Nigeria has such an abundance of what can make one appreciate God in whatever environment that we have. And a lot of people, our forebears, have come in various ways to actually enable us know about prehistoric time and what they have been able to do with their creative intellect to bring about a lot of artworks, to also introduce ethical values, where and manner we should relate in communal relationship, and the way and manner we should project all our beautiful apparels through mode of dressing, dancing, and what have you. And I think Nigeria is a unique country with ample ambience of good things that represent the totality of what culture is.
Okay, now let's talk about the culture. The way you just explained it now, it's really good to hear. But looking at this present generation of children, do you see them embracing this culture, even as we join the world to celebrate the day?
Yeah, to a very great extent. Most times you think that some of our children today are trying to isolate themselves.
Exactly.
But that is what is giving us parents to know that we still need to do more. Because you discover that if you are talking of the present, you must talk of the past.
Exactly.
And if you are talking of what the future will be, you must start from what the present is. So there should be a synergy, a kind of propelling the beauty that is inherent in our various culture, in our geographical areas, and the interrelationship and interdisciplinary nature, whereby we try to see how we can make the diversity of our various cultural ethos to come as a unity, not only for Nigerians, but for humankind as a whole.
Yeah, indeed. Looking at various cultural displays in Nigeria. It's really beautiful. You feel so amazed, if you see the Calabar people in their cultural attire, it's so, loving. Some time ago, the National Troop of Nigeria was in one African island, and they displayed the Nigerians' rich cultural heritage, the Yoruba, the Hausa, and the Igbo. And for the white people over there, they really loved it, and they planned, coming to Nigeria to invest. And that takes me to, you have been a personal art and cultural icon collector on your own, right? And can you, tell us what made you as an individual embark on this?
Yeah, from my childhood days, I have been a culture-oriented person because I used to follow masquerades. Even on Sundays, I would still ensure that I follow masquerades and maybe decamp from the church once in a while. And that continues to grow. And you find that in culture, especially in Yoruba and other cultures, the native intelligence which the parents try to impart to make us to be able to show the light so that the creator who created us in a particular environment will be edified. So that has made one. Then when you see a lot of collections of arts everywhere, is it then the shrines, palaces, and other cultural silos of cultural places that are worth visiting and are worth appreciating in terms of their historical development and the way and manner they have expressed and they have impressed us. These ones can always be a kind of carry over from one generation to the other. And there is no way anybody that is worth his salt and is patriotic and is nationalistic that would like to lose this beautiful cultural heritage that we have in Nigeria.
Okay.
In fact, personally have gone beyond that because many of our stamps that we produce in Nigeria, they have been able to help propagate and epitomize our different cultural values. And in fact, I want to say this year is marking the 150th anniversary of postage stamp in Nigeria. And several of these stamps have been used to propagate the culture of Nigeria. At least not less than 65% of stamps that Nigeria issue. And when we go for Universal Postal Union Congress and all the rest, it is this kind of a thing that we...
Now, with over 500 ethnic groups and dialects in the country, in your course of promoting the nation's culture, what areas are there that can be exploited by individuals for economic gains?
Well, one, first and foremost, you find out that when we try to interact in terms of understanding and learning other people's languages, it brings peace, it brings joy, and as a result of that, when you are interacting in business areas, the trust is there for you. And furthermore, you find out that tourism, it's one of the best areas of propagating the culture of a country in order for people to appreciate the values of your culture. At the same time, you make little or some money which you can reinvest to continue to see how best to further propagate. And today, we are in the world of social media, whereby almost everything goes worldwide. And this creates a lot of business orientation, social orientation, cultural orientation, and peace profound.
And I can attest to that because a couple of years ago, Lagos hosted a NAFest, and you saw different cultural groups from all over the Federation coming. It was a beauty to behold. So I think for schools and cultural clubs in Nigeria, what do you think the administrators should do to make the students, put culture topmost in their studies?
Well, I think first and foremost that since this is the way of our lives,
Yes.
it should be imbued not only from the intellectual or educational perspective, but a living ethos for every child. For example, when I came into this place, the way and manner people greeted me, I could see some aspect of cultural values because maybe they see me more or less an elderly person with 3 teeth left in the mouth, not 3 teeth. I have more than 3 teeth. So all these things are there. And when you continue to expose them to various cultural-oriented places, like the museum, the gallery of arts, the palaces,
really
they will definitely get to have different impressions. And it will surprise you. Many of them may have even better impressions than the originators of the origin of some of these places.
Thank you very much, Mr. Laniyi. And your last words of advice for Nigerians of like minds on this particular day?
Please imbibe the cultural values of Nigeria. Imbibe the positive aspects that make us to appreciate that in unity we stand, divided we fall. All these conflicts and all the rest of them, please let us put them at the back of whatever we are doing, but to see the unity in our humanity.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Taye
My pleasure once again.
for your thoughts on Panorama today. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's time for us to take some messages. We will be right back.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Thank you for rejoining us. To ensure compliance with procedures for export of National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control NAFDAC regulated products, the agency is embracing dialogue with concerned bodies through a workshop. Larry Beleyi reports that discussions between NAFDAC and stakeholders centered around export clearance processes.
Rejection of exportation of products from Nigeria is creating concerns among key players. This is why the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, organized a workshop to sensitize stakeholders in the sector. Some of the issues raised include lack of enlightenment and non-professional practices, especially at the medium and small-scale levels, thereby causing the country great financial loss.
We, Nigerians, left this profiting endeavor grossly unattended, leading to the unwelcome rejection of Nigerian exports in the international commerce with the attendant consequences.
For these stakeholders, export rejection should be fought head-on.
Exporters to have a change of heart, for them not to be involved in regulatory evasion. They should have a heart to comply with the requirements, with the needs of the regulatory bodies in the country.
One, the certification. Because certification gives products premium. Documentation too. Sometimes we have very good products, but when this documentation is not properly done, those goods will be rejected.
The consensus by concerned agencies at the workshop is that producers should ensure standard packaging, labeling, and avoid residues of contaminants such as aflatoxins, microbial, and pesticides. In Lagos, Larry Beleyi, NTA News.
Nigeria's domestic financial market has been described as resilient and sophisticated, making strategic impact on government and corporate financing. Director General Debt Management Office Patience Oniha made the remark while reviewing activities of the securities market and its impact on the Nigerian economy at an enlarged engagement with primary dealer market operators in Lagos. Hengino John Adams reports.
This meeting between the Debt Management Office, DMO, and financial institutions is a follow-up to the one held at the beginning of the year to discuss the new borrowing plan of the federal government in 2024 fiscal year. While commending the market dealers for the successes recorded, the Director General of DMO explained that the sum of 4.9 trillion naira has so far been raised out of the 7.3 trillion naira approved for domestic borrowing by the National Assembly to fund the 2024 budget.
We cannot but appreciate the work that we have done collectively all these years. That's why, COVID came, countries couldn't go to the international capital markets. The markets were closed anyway, but we were able to raise the full amount and even more that we needed to fund the budget, and that has been the case. If you think about it, last year we raised 7 trillion naira, as new domestic borrowing. So it's basically the government's account overdrawn, and the central bank saying you've exceeded your limit, put it in order. So when we raise those funds, they go to reduce that overdraft balance. So
President of the Financial Markets Dealers Association, FMDA, Nadia Zakari, asserted that the federal government and market operators are in strategic partnership to raise funds for national projects and interests.
Business environment is ever evolving, is constantly changing, and it's quite dynamic and unique when we take into consideration the nuances that is the Nigeria economy. So having that constant engagement is very, very crucial.
The meeting is also to chart a new course for market operations for the remaining part of the year. In Lagos, Hinginu John Adams, NTA News.
And it's now time for us to go to the sporting world as Olumide Guntola is our guide.
The resolve to improve sport for national unity and socio-economic growth is receiving attention as the first National Council on Sports kicks off in Enugu. The Permanent Secretary describes sport as not just a game, but a major industry with the capacity to generate employment, drive economic development, and improve public health. The event is expected to last for 3 days. In powerlifting, the first edition of Nigeria Powerlifting Federation NPF NPC Open Championship has ended in Lagos with emphasis on discovering more talent at the grassroots. Powerlifters across the country converge on Lagos to compete in different weight categories, including squatting, bench press, and deadlift. Eze Ebuka clinched gold in the 105 kg weight after a total lift of 625 kg in the male event. Emmanuel Tuesday also smiled home with gold in the 74 kg class with a total lift of 557 kg. Islamiyat Yusuf won gold in the 76 kg class with a total of 401 kg lift in the female event, among other winners.
It is Nigerian powerlifters are needed globally to compete, whereas the strength of powerlifting lies with black men.
Whenever we have any competition at their classes, we will be using them to go and represent this great country.
In handball, Toje Mariners, Rima Strikers, and Nigeria United are occupying the top of the table in the male category at the Andover Handball Premier League holding in Benin. Safety Babes, Defender Babes, and Imo Grasshoppers are leading the table in the female category. With sports update, Olumide Eguntola, NTA News.
And that's Panorama from Lagos. Thank you for watching. I am Adeola Komiakere.
profound impact on a child who witnesses it. This can be terrifying for the child and can live constantly on edge. This fear can cause serious stress for the child, and although they may grow physically, they will be lacking emotionally. They would have a distorted knowledge of family. They might not be able to concentrate in school or make friends as other children would. Domestic violence can traumatize a child in so many ways. In order to build a society where every child is safe, if you are experiencing domestic violence or you know someone who is, please seek help. There are resources available to support you and your family. You are not alone.